Well, you will see that when he presents, he will make a statement that you will universally disagree with.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that will be a very interesting
To
discussion.
commercialize a device in the veterinary, do you have any regulatory clearance or
No, so we look at the regulations. We actually will be hiring a consultant in the veterinary space force on the regulatory, but his first review was the primary focus is safety and biocompatibility. So just make sure it's biocompatible, which is tissue and other studies that we'll do, but we would do those in-house. So we just have to wait and see. But it's amazing how the agency looks at veterinary. Dogs are property, and that's a different regulatory pathway than human. So
Now
who
you
would know?
mentioned, Mickey, that there is an agency, international council that.
I think you just got something on your presentation.
Yeah. So we have a couple of rules and regulations that we have to abide by. Animal Care and Use Committee is a big one. So, but I think anything that basically it ends up at ARVO, goes through the same kind of level of regulation that we need for ours. So that's kind of the same level that we would, and I think that would be pretty easy to do. Also, we would have client consent forms, obviously, if they went through something like this. And that's usually the other hand to that. So great. I will, obviously be working on getting videos of these dummy implants for you while we put those in. So we'll go into this, obviously. The profiles to be tested, the style of implantation, those are kind of the dimensions that I've worked with. We know that an on-med valve tubing seems to be very well tolerated in our veterinary patients. So I would think that those diameters should be okay if we can get close to those kinds of specs. So the next level would be a rabbit model, and this is probably something that you're familiar with. I'm sure many things go through rabbit models first before human. We seem to hop on at that bandwagon as well. So obviously we'll have a protocol reviewed, histopath data reviewed, and then we'll be assessing postoperative inflammation. And that for me is going to be our main criteria to look at with the dogs. One of my biggest concerns is knowing that how inflammatory dogs are postoperatively, to be able to calm that inflammation down and to know how inflammatory this device is going to be key for us. So
Do you know if it's known from a lot of past work that rabbits have roughly 8 times inflammatory response as humans. The FDA accepts that. You will never see it written down, but for example, a 6-month rabbit study counts as a 5-year human model for the FDA for intraocular lenses, for example, glaucoma, shunts, and so on. So do you know if which is worse, who has worse inflammation, rabbits or dogs?
I don't know if there's any study that we've done to kind of compare apples to apples like that, but I would guess they are about comparable.
And I suspect it's very strain dependent. Both lots of studies done in New Zealand whites, I'm sure different rabbits, whereas dogs are going to differ wildly, I'm sure.
Sure.
Same as mice.
So comparison would be difficult.
I think it depends on the strain you're doing it in as well, and the data is there.
Well, based upon your picture of the Ahmed, I'm sorry, I can't wait, but based upon your picture of the Ahmed implant, it looks more like a human than a rabbit. And rabbits, having done some rabbit work, they're terrible in terms of healing. So
Even for something like an Ahmed implant,
Oh,
it's okay.
brutal.
They heal before you finish.
Yeah.
Fair
Your histology,
enough.
your histology looked closer to human than I remember seeing for rabbit as well.
So that would, you'd never see that look in a rabbit.
Well, one of the things that's good to hear. One of the things that worries me about potentially the next level